What's up, everybody? We're going to get ready to get started in just a second. As you see on the vision, it is Colts week as we are getting ready to have our first division game of the season. And we got some things to get into, and we're going to definitely try to see how we could beat the Indianapolis Colts. We're also going to close the book on the not the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to close the book on them. We got, definitely something to discuss as far as Caleb Farley is concerned. Definitely trying to see what's happening with him and why, he's not getting play over Terrence Mitchell, who got a lot of playing time instead of Caleb Farley getting in there. So we're definitely going to get started with that. So make sure y'all share this show out. And we do have an injury report that's going to be out. So we're definitely going to take a look and see, who didn't practice today and who did. And we're going to definitely get started with that in just a minute. So we're going to get everything started in less than 60 seconds. I see a lot of people coming in here. We're going to go ahead and get going. Let's get it. What's going on, Titan Nation? How's everybody doing? Welcome into TNT tonight. I am your host, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer, a.k.a. The Truth. And we are going to have a great episode for you on this evening. We're going to have a lot of fun. And as I showed y'all on the graphic, this is what we got to discuss. The Titans finally getting a victory, getting off the schneid. We're going to definitely talk about what's going on with Caleb Farley? Like, what's up? Why do we think that he's not getting, playing time over some people that are coming in off the streets that are getting playing time? And then, of course, we're going to get into the Colts and everything about that game, since this is a pretty big game coming up. Also, make sure you get your nominees out for the two-tone blue star of the game and also the dunce of the day as well. And we're going to definitely talk about that. So again, definitely make sure, definitely share this show out to everybody. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit that like button for me. I would appreciate everybody that comes in to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do hit that subscribe button and also ring the bell and hit that on all. So that way you get all the notifications every time I go live, whether it is TNT Tonight or whether it is the Truth League Report, which I know I was kind of behind on that this week because I was actually at the Tennessee Titans game against the Raiders. Also, if you want some TNT swag, get with me, whether on my email at canewell817@gmail.com. If you like a hat, like the one on the graphic, basically just like this hat that I have on, you can hit up my guy at Out the Crib Customs. That's at out_the_crib_customs. And then, of course, if you like a t-shirt, Titans of Truth t-shirt, you can hit me up or Miss Latoya Akinyemi. Her email is queenbutterflytees@gmail.com or on Instagram at queenbutterflytees, and you could definitely hit her up there. So definitely check that out, and definitely get some of this swag, just like this shirt that I have on right there. Definitely check that out, and you will not regret it. But let's go ahead and we're going to get into this show, and we're going to definitely talk about this Raider game because it is, a pretty nice win. 24-22. The Titans get the big win, and they get to 1-2. They finally get a victory on the board, and I'm putting some stats up. But before we go into that, first off, I do want to send my prayers to my thoughts and prayers and everybody here, to everybody that is in Florida that is dealing with Hurricane Ian right now. So definitely my prayers up to everybody that's down there. And I'm doing this with concern because I have my family. My family is down there as well. I have my mom, my brother, my uncle, my cousin, and my little niece and nephew are all down in Florida, in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area. So I'm definitely trying to, think about them and just hoping that they're okay and everything. But I think it's supposed to miss Tampa just barely. So I think they're getting out of harm's way. So I'm definitely praying up for everybody. I know I got a good friend of mine. They're in Sanford, Florida, which is right outside of Orlando. And so I'm definitely, concerned, hoping that everybody will be okay. Derek Roberts saying, dropping his weekly tie. I definitely appreciate that. And super chats, of course, all appreciated. So y'all can definitely follow suit. Again, you'll be helping me, helping the channel, and we definitely will be having some fun. We got CJ, we got Mark Sumter, we got Frazier in here, Derek Roberts, Pig Wickle, we got up in here. Zarice is here. Billy Rainey is in here. Man, I see we got everybody up in here and everything. We're going to talk about some of the new additions that were made. Titan Fox saying tighten up. AZ Mick, of course. We got 615 Podcast, Mr. Lee up in here. So, we got some of everybody in here that and we got, a lot of good things to get to. But again, prayers up to everybody in Florida. Hoping that everything will be okay. I know Fort Myers and I think Port Charlotte and a couple places there are getting hammered right now because it made landfall as a category 4. So that's winds of right up to 155 miles an hour. It nearly became a category 5. So again, prayers to everybody there. But let's talk about the Raiders, and then we'll move on to the new additions and everything. Let's see. Titan Fox, obviously watching for Florida. I know hopefully Titans Rossi is okay because I know he's down in Florida. And I believe Big O Titan is down there as well. So definitely, again, prayers up to everybody down there. Titan Fox says, thank you, True. Just got back from picking up supplies to Weather Storm. Well, definitely be careful. Be very careful down there, please. Let's see. Derek Roberts says, I'm in South Florida. Well, I mean, that's where they're hitting is South Florida, like the I thought Rossi was in Florida. He usually does it from Florida and he comes up for games. But if you're in South Florida, hopefully you're not hopefully you're north of like Tampa and Orlando. But if you're down there by like Key West and Miami and Fort Lauderdale, you're getting hammered right now. So hopefully you're not in those areas and everything. But yeah, that's right, because I know Rossi went through some things. But We're definitely gonna have to find out what's going on with that. Well, you know what, everybody? Thank you for informing me. Yep, Rossi's back here in Tennessee. Okay, yeah, because he was in Florida. I remember that. I remember that for a fact. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry about that. But I did remember he was in Florida and then he moved back up. So let's get into this game. Yeah, we're kind of getting off tangent. That's my fault on that. But the Titans get this victory 24-22. They improved to 1-2 on the year. As y'all see across the bottom, we did have some highlights. I mean, we do have some stats. I thought Ryan Tannehill had a pretty nice game. Threw for 264, touchdown through a very bad interception. I don't know exactly what was happening on that particular play. Lemon juice and honey, always good. But other than that, I thought Ryan played a very, very solid football game. Derek Henry, 20 carries, 85 yards and a touchdown. Also had 5 catches for 58 yards. So they really got him involved in the passing game, which I thought was surprising yet impressive. Robert Woods, of course, had his best game as a Titan with 4 catches for 85 yards. And then, you had Rashard Weaver had a big sack. McCreary, continuing to show up. Christian Fulton was back and was glad to see him back. And then Byard had the big interception. Also, now on the other side, Derek Carr did throw for 300 yards. Derek Carr did throw for 300 yards and, definitely threw for a couple of touchdowns. Got one to Devontae Adams early and then to Mac Hollins late. But also he threw an interception as well. And speaking of Mac Hollins, man, did he have a day. 8 catches, 158 yards. I mean, we did a very good job of keeping Devontae Adams and Darren Waller at bay. We made them combine for 8 catches for only 58 yards combined. But Mac Hollins picked up the slack, mainly because we had horrible Terrence Mitchell guarding him most of the game, and that was a pretty much matchup disadvantage for the Titans on that. But no matter what, hey, a win is a win. I will take the W any way I can get it. And that's the most important thing is the W. And there's really not much more that can be said on that, is that you got the win. The W is the most important thing you could ever have. So I will take that W and roll with it with no problem whatsoever. So I thought there was a lot of good things that did happen in this game. And then there were some things that were not so good that happened in this game as well. And so we're definitely going to get into that. So we're going to definitely go with what we like to call the good, the bad, and the awful from this game. And so just give me a minute. I'm actually getting some information. But I want to know from y'all, what did y'all think of this game? And what did y'all see that was good? What did y'all see that was bad? And what did you see that was just downright awful? And Derek Roberts, we're taking the line from the Raiders. Just win, baby, win. That's all that really mattered. Billy Rainey says King Henry returned. Well, King Henry isn't back yet, but he's definitely getting there. 615 says, good game, but too close for comfort. I do agree with that. And that's something that we would definitely have to do. Ty Fox says, love the win, but we wouldn't be the Cardiac Titans if they didn't keep it close and scary and making me sweat. I mean, that's pretty much how they do it. I mean, it just seems like they never like winning easy. They always want to win it hard and everything. So I don't really like that. But let's go on into the good, the bad, and the awful. And we start off with the good. And I would say the good, a successful first half. I think we had 5 drives, and I think we scored on 4 of them. The first 3 drives, the first 3 drives were touchdowns. First 3 drives were touchdowns, and started off extremely well. And then I know we had to punt once in the first half, and then when we got the ball back, was able to get down quickly. A very nice return by Robert Woods, and we ended up getting a field goal out of that. So I was definitely very happy with that result, going into the locker room up 24-10. And I think we did a good job, of course, of keeping the Raiders at bay and everything. So I definitely did like that. Rashad Weaver, I think, continues to impress. He already has 3 sacks on the year. He had 2 against the Giants. He had 1 in this game. So he already has 3 sacks in 3 games. And so he's definitely filling in nicely for Harold Landry. And, definitely was one of the very few guys that was really bringing some pressure as far as I was seeing in this game. So I definitely like that out of Rashad Weaver. Something else I thought was good was just seeing Christian Fulton back. Christian Fulton was making plays early, was hot to the ball early, and really did a lot of very, very good things. So I was, again, very much impressed with what I saw out of Christian Fulton. It was very, very good to have him back. Robert Woods showing up, making some catches, definitely getting him involved. I definitely did like that. The bad, I would say lack of pressure, particularly in the second half. Derek Carr looked like he had some time to really get the ball off, and there was really not a lot of pressure as it should have been. I mean, there were a couple of hits on him and things like that. Danico Autry was coming strong at times, but there were times he was able to get out of the pocket and was able to evade the rush and things like that. The defense kind of fell off a little bit and went to sleep a little bit, but we're going to talk more about that very much later. But lack of Hooper and Burks. Burks caught a pass early, almost got his first touchdown. Hooper, I believe, had a couple of catches. He did have the big grab on the onside kick, which helped seal the game. But I would like to see them use Hooper a lot more because it just seemed like they just continue. They love going to Jeff Swain. Swain had 3 catches, 22 yards, and a score in this game. And it just seemed like they love going to Jeff Swain, 3 for 19. Hooper had 2 for 19, I should say. But it just seemed like they love going to to Swain instead of Hooper. And I find that very much concerning. So I thought the lack of pressure was not good, and the lack of Hooper and Burks was not good. 615 said the good, okay, Todd Downing offensive line. Says bad as pass defense. I definitely agree with that. Ms. Mims, glad to see you for a second. Come on in. MHVACR. VACR is definitely in here. Rainey said they went to sleep in the second half defensively. I think offensively they kind of did too. Landon Webbers made it in. Definitely made it in. Burks dropped a big 4th down pass. I think that pass was a little bit behind him. Was definitely a little bit behind him. And he still almost brought it in. That was going to be a tough grab anyway. But he also says Fulton played a good game. Indeed. Travis Johnson said, need to trade Raiders and a 4th round pick for Isaiah Wynn. And I know TD mentioned this as well. Definitely even now or in the offseason, the Titans should seriously look at Andre Dillard, the tackle that's with the Eagles right now that's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit as well. So he might be a guy, those two might be guys that they should definitely take a look at. We definitely need to do a little bit more than what we did on Sunday, but we definitely can do some of the very good things. Ty Fox says O-line was solid. Dennis Daly did good. bad, tiny Aaron Brewer. Yeah, Aaron Brewer had some struggles in this game. I will give the offensive line some credit. 615, they are seriously infatuated with Swain. I don't know what this love fest is with Jeff Swain. I don't know if he is dating a coach's daughter or something like that or whatever. I don't know what's going on now, but that's very interesting. And Landon says Downing is responsible for Hoop's lack of snaps. Now, Vrabel has already come out and said that's really up to the position coaches as far as the snaps. So that might be up to Steckel, Coach Steckel, as far as the snaps are divvied up. But then there is the awful. And it is pretty obvious where we go from here. And that's Terrence Mitchell. Terrence Mitchell was bad in this game. Really, really bad. I mean, he basically, when he was targeted, gave up 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown when he was targeted. And so in their last drive, they decided, Derek Carr knew that favorable matchup. If you got Hollins on Terrence Mitchell, go in that direction. And that's exactly what they did, and they did it with lots of success. So I thought that was something that was just really, really bad, was Terrence Mitchell. And, like I said, I apologize, I have this spelled incorrectly. Let me fix that. Let's see. There we are. There we go. Terrence Mitchell. And the fact that he was signed off of the Patriots practice squad on like Wednesday or Thursday. And then a few days later, he is playing a lot of snaps in this game instead of Caleb Farley. And it really speaks volumes about what's going on. It's like they would rather go with a guy, even though he's like 30, 31, 32, 33, some odd years old, who's definitely past his prime, playing him off of 3 days of practice over a guy that's been in your camp all year and is just in his second season. And so we're going to definitely talk about Farley, but I just thought that spoke volumes. And then the fourth down decision. I think there was one where it was a 4th and 1, and they decided to punt the ball away. And then there was another where the 4th and 4 where Traylon Burks almost had the catch, but didn't bring it in. And then the Raiders ended up getting a field goal out of that. So I don't know what it is with Vrabel deciding to go for it there on 4th and 4. I would have rather went for it on 4th and 1 as opposed to 4th and 4. So that's just something that I really have thought about. And that's something that I necessarily wouldn't have done. So that's just kind of my thoughts when it comes to the good, the bad, and the awful. And that brings me to this question. Who is your two-tone blue star of the game? Who did the things well to be able to help this team win? You could probably go a lot of different directions. You could go Tannehill. You could go Robert Woods for what he did, not just as a receiver, but had that very nice return to end the first half where they got a field goal out of it. You can look at Kevin Byard. You can definitely look at Rashard Weaver. Who do y'all think is the two-tone blue star of the game? I'm going to read some of your other comments. Want to see Malik every now and then get some reps. Ain't going to happen right now. Not going to happen. In a bromance with Swain. Swain's got pictures of somebody. Rossi, what's up, man? Welcome in. Downey must be Swain's future father-in-law. Use Hooper more. Swain is not it. I agree. See, Mitchell was awful. I could have swore he gave up way more than that. I was watching him the whole game. I was there too. The offense is in his first year together with Burks, Wood, Hooper, and Chig, and they just need more time to find their roles and grow each week. I think they'll get better. That's from Mark Jones. And you're right, Ty Rossi. They definitely love them some Swain and some Hollister. But every time you see Hollister on the field, you know 9 times out of 10 it's a run. Ty Fox said if he got beat that bad by Devontae Adams, we'd be like, give him another shot, but he didn't. I would have not been happy if he gotten beat by Devontae Adams. Because first of all, I've been like, why do you have Mitchell or Devontae Adams? So that would be something that I would have thought about. Swain is most familiar with the offense. Vrabel trusted more until Chig and Hooper get acclimated to the offense. But Swain is not that good. Swain is not that good. Excuse me. But as far as your nominees, I see Mark Woods going with Robert Wood, Mark Jones going with Robert Woods, Rossi going with Woods. Ms. Mim says Byard, Henry, Tannehill. Okay. Titan Fox going with Henry and Fulton. 615, Lee going with Kevin Byard. Let's see. Derek Roberts saying Weaver. Rashad Weaver. William Jones, what's up? Good to have you in here. Landon said, I thought Henry played well and they need to get him. They need to get him in the passing game, which they did. Because I believe he had 100 and I want to say it was 143 all-purpose yards from scrimmage. Yeah, he had 143 total yards from scrimmage in running and passing. Henry bringing in the receiving. I definitely like that. Marcellus Clay says offensive line was solid. Yeah, I definitely agree. They held Max Crosby and Chandler Jones to a combined 1 sack. And really, that sack was busted up because I believe it was a screen pass. And Jeff Swain, who was supposed to be this great blocker, was supposed to kind of chip on Max Crosby, but instead he got turned around a little bit. And then by the time he turned around, Crosby's past him, hitting Tannehill. So, like I said, I don't know what the love is with Swain. Tyron said, I didn't know you were there. Yep, I'm usually there. I will tell y'all if I'm not there, so believe me. See, just say you can make Titans make good players look bad. Sad but true. Let's see, Mark John going with Hilliard, Autry, Weaver. So yes, the two-tone blue star of the week. I'm gonna go with Robert Woods. I'm gonna go with Bobby Trees because I think Bobby Trees was extremely impressive. I think he had his best game as a Titan, and I think that bodes well going forward. That bodes well going forward as far as getting him the ball more. And, Tannehill's going to have to make sure he spreads it around. And so I thought that was very impressive. And, again, I do give an honorable mention to the offensive line. It wasn't perfect, but I definitely do think that the offensive line was very solid most of the day. And I agree with Mark Jones. We can't forget about the Stone House because the Stone House was kicking the crap out of that ball. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. He kicked the crap out of that ball. He had 3 punts yesterday, averaged 60 yards a punt, and had 2 of them inside of the 20-yard line. So Ryan Stonehouse is off to a very, very good start as a Titan player. I'm actually trying to look up his stats right now, trying to see what he looks like. But right now, out of 12 punts, he's punted 15 times this year. He's averaging 57 yards a punt. So he's number one in the league in punt average, 57 yards, and he's got 7 of his 15 punts were downed inside of the 20-yard line. So, man, he's booming the heck out of that. And he's got actually a net average. Let's see. And right now he's got a net average of, let's see. Trying to see what his net average is. I believe his net average looks like it's at around 49 yards. Yeah. He's averaging 57 yards on a punt, but his net average is 49.2. So nearly his net average is near 50 yards. Near 50-yard net average. So, I mean, he's got that leg. So I definitely do agree with that. So, Two-Tone Blue star of the game, Robert Woods, honorable mention. The offensive line was solid, and Ryan Stonehouse. But of course, as we have a star of the game, we also have a dunce of the day. So who screwed up a lot in this game? And there's a lot of ways you could go with that. I know Terrence Mitchell might be the obvious choice. You could also probably say Vrabel and the coaching staff for not making adjustments, keeping it aggressive in the second half, as well as, talk about second half woes that they have. So who is your dunce of the day? 615 says second half, O-line second half. Hard hitter says no scoring. Second half almost cost us the game. Landon says the only thing I wish the Stonehouse could do better is pinning them inside the 5. Other than that, has a heck of a leg. And he does. But you got to remember, he is not Brett Kern yet, but he has gotten better with control. He's gotten better with control because in the Giants game, he was out kicking his coverage. This time, it is not as bad. God, it tastes good. So who definitely is your dunce of the day? Titan Rossi going with definitely Mitchell, and the coaching staff for not giving Farley a shot. Rainey's going with Vrabel. Marcellus going with Mitchell. Let's get a few other votes in here. Who is your dunce of the day as far as this game is concerned? Excuse me. Let's see. So just waiting on a couple more of your comments. But I definitely, Mitchell would be an obvious choice. I think Vrabel could definitely be an obvious choice. And I want to just have some fun, put this score up. We got the W. That's the most important thing. We got the W. Marcella said Mitchell stinks. Farley bad, but good Lord, Mitchell sucks. Billy Rainey says Vrabel for no Farley. And I'm going to give a dunce of the day. One definitely has to go to Terrence Mitchell because Terrence Mitchell was awful. That is the understatement of the year. he was awful, without a doubt. And getting snaps over Farley after 3 days of practice and played a pretty good chunk of snaps, I might add, was bad. Now, so Terrence Mitchell is definitely the dunce of the day. I would definitely have to give a small dunce of the day to Vrabel not giving Farley much of a shot. If you're seeing, that Terrence Mitchell is struggling big, you might as well put Farley in there and see what you got. But you might have thought, you know what, we're desperate. We're trying to get a win. And we ain't got time to be doing an experiment. Let's see. Queen Lele says, Mitchell hands down. Derek Carr says, not going to kill Vrabel for this week. Mainly because we got the win. Luke Joel says, Farley sucks. That's why he's not on the field. He's getting toasted every time. But let me ask you something. Who would be worse, Farley or Mitchell? I would probably go with Mitchell. At least Farley has a chance to get better if they give him a shot. And so, that's what we're going to kind of go into is, and this is the question I have, and we're going to go into that. But obviously, after this game, you got the Titans signed former Colts and Eagles tackle LaRaven Clark to the 53-man roster yesterday, I believe. And then also added former Jags and Broncos linebacker Joe Schobert, who is a good one, to the practice squad, which they might want to pull him up to the 53 before somebody snatches him up, kind of like what they did with Tat McKinley earlier last week. Like they had Tat McKinley, probably was going to put him on the roster, but the Rams scooped him up instead. So, hopefully this doesn't happen with Joe Schobert, but they might want to go ahead and move him up to the 53 as soon as possible. And LaRaven Clark, I haven't got a chance to really watch a lot of film on him. I haven't heard a lot of great things when it comes to him. I mean, he could be good for depth. He could definitely be good if something goes down with either Dennis Daly or Nicholas Petit-Frere. He could also play some guard. So, that could be a backup for Nate Davis, or if they just think Aaron Brewer is not up to snub, that's why they might have brought them in. So, LaRaven Clark brought on to the 53. Schobert, I think, is a good move. It definitely will probably mention to tell what may be happening with Zach Cunningham with the injury that he sustained. And so that's going to be a main question of what's going to happen with Zach Cunningham if he's going to have to miss some games or miss time, as far as this season continues to go. So that might be why they've brought them in. So here's the question. What's the deal with Caleb Farley? I don't know why he's not getting more play on the field. I understand the Buffalo game just did not go well for him at all. And I don't like how Vrabel just babies some of the rookies or some of the players that haven't played much. He's doing the same thing to Dylan Radins. I mean, I know Radins had probably every opportunity to beat out Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Petit-Frere just beat him out. But with Caleb Farley, everybody kept saying, he had a nice camp. He didn't have a bunch of bad days or anything like that. And that, him and McCreary were competing, and then they just felt better going with McCreary over Farley a little bit. So I don't know what the deal is. And, a lot of people are hating on Farley. A lot of people saying, yeah, Farley sucks. He's a bust and everything like that. Luke said, I don't trust Farley one-on-one. Mark says, Farley just needs to get in the flow of the game. He should shadow Fulton in practice and learn from him. I definitely agree. Rainey says, Farley is better than Mitchell, in my opinion. He needs to get snaps. He ain't proven nothing to us. I mean, he hasn't had a chance to really prove himself. A lot of y'all, after like one game, are ready to just throw him in the garbage. And so, I get it. Farley hasn't looked good. I get that. And I know people is like, I don't want to hear the excuse he hadn't played much. But he hasn't played much. This dude, if you look at the tape he had at Virginia Tech, has some very good tape. Good speed, good ball skills. And maybe that didn't translate over to the NFL right away. But then he deals with, he tore an ACL in college. Then he comes back. Then he has like the back surgery. He has like the back injury and things like that. Did not play did play in 2019. He did not play in 2020 in the COVID year. Excuse me. He didn't play in the COVID year. Then goes into the draft. He's dealing with the back surgery, so he's already behind the 8 ball. And then, he comes in as a rookie. He coming in as a rookie, played a little bit against Jacksonville, and then was getting his first major start. His first start ever in the NFL on Monday night against the Bills, tears his ACL. So since 2019, this kid has played basically 4 games in over 2.5 years. And y'all are just, and I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, he was a first-round pick. Well, obviously, if it wasn't for the injuries, he would have been gone in the top 10. He would have been gone between about 8 and about 12. He would have been in there with Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn. And Bald and Bearded says, Caleb doesn't understand the assignments to my understanding. Now, and I mean, a lot of times you cannot expect you can't expect every player to pick up stuff just like this. The guy was a wide receiver converted to a corner, and he's only played corner for a couple of years. So he is still learning the position. Now, that probably shouldn't have warranted that 22nd pick, and unfortunately, I hate the fact that we have really high expectations. If we were like one of these low teams, like, say, the Commanders or the Jets, we had nothing to lose, hey, you put them out there and you let them learn. Rock says, Fulton didn't really come on till year 3, so let's see what happens. Sometimes players need to play and not overthink what they're doing. And that's what I'm thinking. I don't think Farley could ever get better until you just put him out there and play. Let the boy play. That's the only way he's going to learn. Now, I understand a lot of y'all are saying we don't need to sacrifice victory. You don't need to sacrifice victory just so this guy can learn how to play ball. But at the same time, he's never going to get any better if you don't give him opportunities. Now I understand, Vrabel, like you got to earn your opportunities and stuff like that. But, I mean, and I think a lot of the problem with Caleb Farley is between the ears. I really do. I think that's where it is. A lot of it is in between the ears. And that's where I think, that's why I think he's got to get better at, is up here. His confidence is probably shot right now. He probably doesn't really believe in himself. And I didn't like the fact that in the press conference, when everybody was asking about Caleb Farley, asked about his confidence and things like that, Vrabel goes up and says, well, I can't worry about anybody else's confidence. I can only worry about my own. And right there, I wanted to slap Vrabel in the face for that. Because I'm like, okay, part of that is correct. you can only worry about your confidence, but you are the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. The players are looking to you. Yes, a player needs to believe in themselves. That's true. But, at the same time, a coach can instill confidence in a player. If Vrabel goes up to Farley and says, hey, I know you've had a down game or two, and I know you didn't get to play much of this game, but I want you to know that I want to let you know that I have excuse me, that I have all the faith in you. I believe in you. I know that you're a good player. And, when you get out there, just play your game. Play football and just play the game. And you can do this. If he goes up to Caleb Farley and does that, maybe in Farley's mind, he starts thinking, you know what? Coach believes in me. If he believes I can do it, then I believe I can do it too. And that's the thing. But Vrabel comes off as an arrogant smartass, thinking that, well, I can't control that. I can only control my confidence. I'm like, that did not sit well with me. That did not sit well with me at all. And Mark Jones coming in and says, Vrabel would say he can't comment on anyone else's confidence but his own. He can prepare everyone, but he can't be confident for them. Actually, yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you go to that player and say, hey, no matter what, I believe in you. I believe in you. I am confident in you. Now, true enough, that doesn't mean that a player automatically is going to be confident in themselves. But if you go and you just proverbially wrap your arm around a player and tell them, hey, I believe in you, I got faith in you, I got confidence in you that you can do this, then maybe in that player's mind, his confidence could begin to grow in himself. That's what you're supposed to do as a coach. You got to believe in your guys. So that's what I would have to say about that. But, again, I don't know who's coaching them. Now, I really hate Kerry Coombs is not around to coach this kid. Because I think Kerry Coombs will get the best out of this kid. I don't know what Anthony Midget is teaching him, but it must not be good enough. In my honest opinion. Typical Vrabel smart mouth answer for no reason whatsoever. And, a lot of people have talked about it, that Vrabel's arrogance could be the downfall. That, you know how Vrabel says don't do dumb stuff to hurt the football team? Vrabel being all arrogant and cocky is hurting the football team. Let's see. Truth. Have you heard of any players outside of the quarterback in this league's history that developed into a major player after being this bad the first 2 years, Farley or Raiders? That is a good question, Titan Man 615. Well, here's a good example. Remember, the Bills have a particular quarterback by the name of Josh Allen. Allen wasn't very good his first couple of years. First couple of years, a lot of people were wondering, like, was he the right pick? He was picked in the top 10, coming out of a small school out of Wyoming. And, he did not do very well his first couple of years. I remember the game we played up in Buffalo that we should have won, had, I believe, Dion Lewis fumbled the football, or Dory Jackson, I believe, dropped a pick. And then also Marcus Mariota had a game-winning touchdown to Nick Williams that he dropped. In that game, Josh Allen wasn't great. He was good with his legs. He couldn't throw the ball to save his life. Now, I know you're talking about outside of quarterback, but I'm just saying that's the first good example that I could come up with as far as developing. Another guy, and I got to think for a second. I'm talking, and since you're saying outside of the quarterback, that's a good one. I would probably say, man, this is a tough question. I can't lie to you on this one. This is a very, very tough question. Man. I mean, I think Adoree Jackson was developing into a good corner. Excuse me. I know his first year or two, he was kind of struggling a bit. And then after they kind of, not dealt with him as a punt returner, he did start to get a little bit better. He did have I think he did have an injury or two. And then, he wasn't just great, but I think he developed a little bit better. I would also say, I would take a look at Harold Landry. Now, Harold Landry, he started off a little rough, wasn't getting on the field as much and had to learn a few things. He was coming off of an injury. I believe his first year, he had like 4 sacks or 4.5. Then he had like 8 or 9 sacks. Then he had like 5.5. And then he went from that to nearly having over 12 sacks last year. And so Harold Landry was a bit up and down. And it took him a little bit of time and everything. So I think that could definitely be one. Nate Davis didn't exactly start off all peaches and cream either. He's coming off of an injury. Took him to about week 4, week 5 to get in. And then he kept getting better as time went along. And then, he had a struggle. I believe last season he kind of struggled. And then, now he's trying to pick things back up. So I think that's where I could kind of go to with some of those players. So, Titan, I appreciate you kind of put me on the spot with a tough question there. Margel says, McCreary doesn't lack confidence. Fulton is progressing well. That I do agree with. Damon Beverly just says, I just think Farley needs to get his first interception and things will change. I just think Farley needs to have a good game. I just think he needs to have a good game. So that's what I think. But, and Tight Man, you're talking about the same coaches have McCreary and MPF doing better. Well, that's also talent. Not necessarily saying that Raiders and Farley are not talented, but, McCreary and MPF played a lot of football in college. They're battle-tested. Petit Ferrer at Ohio State went up against some good defensive linemen in the Big Ten, including Aiden Hutchinson. McCreary battle-tested in the SEC, went up against Burks and Jamison Williams and, those type of characters. So they're battle-tested. Farley and Raiders are not. Again, we were talking about with Farley, was dealing with some injuries in 2019 and then sat out the COVID year. Dylan Radunz was playing left tackle in 2019. 2020, they played one game. They don't have a whole season. So They're behind the 8 ball a little bit more. Arrogance and Nashville don't go together. That I agree with. Marjo says Farley has time. I agree. James Rogers says Raiders ceiling is Dennis Kelly, but he would be lucky if he gets to be that good. I mean, that is a good point because it looks like they gave up on him. Ty Fox says David Long Jr. That's a very good choice as well. He was a 6th-round pick. He came out of nowhere, basically, and is in a starting role. So, yeah, I definitely agree. Snaps, and he will get that confidence. I like that, too. So, definitely do appreciate that. But let's keep going. I know a lot of y'all can ask me some questions, pick my brain as we do get ready to go into this game against the Indianapolis Colts. So let's turn our attention to the Colts. And my Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory. The Colts, of course, finally got off of the losing column themselves with a victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs made some mistakes that gave the game to the Colts. Missed field goal, muffed punt by Sky Moore. And I really thought the Chiefs was going to really hand it to the Colts, but they did not. You got Matt Ryan. You got the matchup, that a lot of people are going to enjoy. And that is, the King versus the Paper King. Oh, yeah. So you got this matchup. The King versus the number 1 rusher from 2021. And I put these asterisks by to say this. The only reason, and Shane, I appreciate the super chat. Sorry I'm late, but I'm at least catching some of my guy. Hope we smash the Colts. Definitely appreciate the super chat, Shane. I definitely appreciate that. Good answers. Thanks to all. I appreciate that. Like your answers being on the spot. I appreciate it. But that's what this matchup is going to boil down to. You got the King versus the number 1 rusher from last year and Jonathan Taylor. And Billy Rainey, I appreciate you coming in. I hope you give a thumbs up, and I hope you subscribe to the channel and enjoy more episodes going forward. I'll definitely do some NFL shows also, and definitely talking Titans every Wednesday. So I appreciate that. But Jonathan Taylor, is starting off pretty good. Derek Henry, I think, is coming. He's recovering from the injury, and a lot of people want to basically say Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the league, which is incorrect. Until he actually supplants Henry, until he actually unseats Henry when Henry plays a full year, then I'll say that. Well, until then, Jonathan Taylor is not the best running back in the league, and he ain't the king of the South. That still belongs to Derek Henry. And he wants to remind everybody he is king of the South. 22 will go off in Indy. And he very well could. I definitely do agree with that. So this is going to be a fun matchup. I like both backs. I really do. I like Jonathan Taylor coming out of Indy. I thought about him being a nice backup to Derek Henry and could have eventually been his replacement. But I definitely do like that. So, you got Taylor on one side with Matt Ryan. You also got Michael Pittman Jr., who is a definite good receiver. And then on the other side, you got Okereke, you got DeForest Buckner, you still got Shaquille Darius Leonard as well. And then you got Stephon Gilmore. On the defensive side as well. So, the Colts are definitely going to be hungry. They're going to want to build off of this victory, and they want to try to make it 2 in a row and definitely try to put a step in on this division and get back in the race, although Jacksonville is the leader right now. So it'll be very hard for the Colts to hold Henry under 100 yards. We're definitely going to see about that. Derek Henry was up for a month after he got hurt until JT caught up to his production. Yeah, Derek Henry, even when he got hurt, led the league in rushing for I want to say 3 weeks after he got hurt. He, leading the league in rushing, and he still finished top 10 in rushing despite missing the entire second half of the year. The only JT I know is Justin Timberlake. I like that. Ty Fox says, I hope he destroys an Indy and wears a crown on the sideline, 183 yards, 3 scores. We're definitely going to find out about that. And before we get to the Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory, let's take a look at the injury report from practice today. Probably not a lot to go into, but for the Titans, here are the guys that did not practice. Austin Hooper dealing with something with a neck. Amani Hooker, concussion. So Amani Hooker's in concussion protocol, did not practice today. Zach Cunningham dealing with an elbow, dealing with that elbow injury, did not practice. Traylon Burks dealing with an illness, did not practice. So I'm pretty sure Burks will probably practice at some point this week. But Zach Cunningham, pretty concerning. Amani Hooker, that concussion, and Austin Hooper is a little bit concerning as well. But you got Ola Adeni, Ugo Amadi, Christian Fulton, and Kyle Phillips, all limited participation, which is good. But a big name that might be back, Bud Dupree, full participation today. So that's a very good sign for Bud Dupree possibly coming back. And I know it's just Wednesday, and we'll definitely have to see how the rest of the week continues to transpire. But Bud Dupree, full participant, very, very good thing. Adani and Ugo Amadi being limited, also a good thing. For the Indianapolis Colts, Julian Blackman, the safety with an ankle, didn't practice. DeForest Buckner didn't practice with elbow. Hamstring for Stephon Gilmore. Knee for Ryan Kelly. Yannick Ngakoue back. Jonathan Taylor, toe. Although it has come out that this is a more precautionary thing with Jonathan Taylor. But Shaquille Leonard, who did not play against the Chiefs, was a full participant this week as well. So that is the injury report so far right now ahead of this big Titanic matchup between the Colts and the Titans. So Jonathan Taylor, they said it's precautionary, but DeForest Buckner not practicing, and Stephon Gilmore, who did go out of the game with an injury and then came back in. The hamstrings can be a little tricky. That's something that you definitely got to monitor. Let's see. Mark says, Big Jeff is going to be in Matt Ryan's lap all day. Shane says, I don't think Derek is going to play. He's terrified of Henry. Well, he fully practiced today. We'll definitely have to see. Reggie B says our defense better be on their game against Jonathan Taylor, and plus I'm not too sold on the Jags. Aren't we on a 4-game streak? I would say we've won 3 out of 4 against Indy. I want to say we have probably won 3 in a row against Indy, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. We're coming off of a short week, so Vrabel is trying to get guys rest for this divisional matchup because he knows how important it is. And this is an extremely important matchup. An extremely important matchup because this could definitely put us in position to take control in the AFC. Again, make sure y'all smash the like button if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. But here are my Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory and how the Titans can get a victory over the Colts. Number 1, make the Colts one-dimensional. Take care of Jonathan Taylor first. Shut him down. Make the Colts one-dimensional, and then you can get after Matt Ryan. You can get after Matt Ryan, and you can sack him. And, I mean, besides Quentin Nelson, I don't really see who's really good on this Colts offensive line besides Quentin Nelson. So you got to make them one-dimensional. And then you can bottle up Pittman. You know, Jelani Woods could be a matchup nightmare in the red zone. He could definitely be a problem there. Excuse me. But you definitely got to make him one-dimensional. Take Jonathan Taylor out of the game, and that's going to make things a lot more difficult for the Indianapolis Colts. Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, you got to wrap him up good. The Titans did a pretty decent job of that on Josh Jacobs this past Sunday. They're going to have to do it again against Jonathan Taylor, who he's not going to be easy to bring down either. He's very crafty. He has some powerful legs. So you're going to have to wrap him up. And gang tackling is going to be extremely important in this game. And that's defensively. And you got to get some pressure on Matt Ryan. If Bud Dupree is back for this game, that would be huge. As far as the pass rush is concerned, you could definitely have it with Simmons, with Autry, with Weaver, with Dupree, DeMarcus Walker. You could definitely do a lot. And if you have a Daney, then you have at least a good rotation of guys that you can have for this game as far as bringing the pressure. And I'm hoping that secondary-wise, they don't really have a lot of big-time players. I mean, besides, Michael Pittman Jr., who is really, really good. But you got to watch out for Alec Pierce, who could be pretty good. Nyheim Hines out of the backfield. If Paris Campbell gives you anything, you definitely got to watch out for that. So definitely try to make him one-dimensional and wrap up Jonathan Taylor. Number 3, is start hot and stay aggressive. And that's the thing about this. The Tennessee Titans have scored on their opening drive in every game this season. Their opening drive have scored in every game this year. 3 games, 3 first drives, 3 touchdowns. Excuse me. That has to continue. You've got to get off to a good start. And then on the other side, you got to get them behind. Because the Titans this year have started off hot. The Colts have started off cold. Excuse me. And I mean, the Colts have struggled to score on their first possessions. And the only reason they were even able to get up early in the game against the Chiefs was because Sky Moore muffed the first punt. So you got to start off hot and you got to stay aggressive in the second half. If you got a lead, especially against this team, you got your foot on their throats. You keep your foot on their throats, and you do not let up. Rocky Hit said Rashard Weaver is on pace to replace Harold Landry's production. Rashard Weaver is looking really good. Not going to lie about that. So I want to see Burks get some more targets. I'm with you on that. And Mark Jones, don't be predictable. Win the field position battle, play all 4 quarters, utilize Hilliard and the weapons. And I agree with that. You got to stay aggressive. And then last but not least, saying let the big dog eat, that is pretty obvious. That's obvious. You want to get Derrick Henry going and everything, so that way it sets up the play action. But the offensive line has to build on this decent game that they had against the Raiders. I think all in all, I didn't think the offensive line did too bad of a job. There were a couple of plays that I had questions about. I think it was a 3rd and 1 run play, which, 3rd and 1, yes, you would have ran Henry. I would have too. But it looked like everybody on the offensive line whiffed on their blocks. Daly whiffed on his. Petit Ferrer whiffed on his. So that made things a little bit more difficult in that particular situation. But the offensive line can build on this. And I think if they can build on that, maybe they start to get a little bit better. And so that's something that we got to see. Let's see. Tighten Up saying, what it do? What's going on? Rocky Yit says, thank you for the show. I expect another hard-fought battle. As usual, Titans Colts. Well, Rocky Yit, I appreciate you tuning in. But if the offensive line can continue to get better, I think Petit Ferrer, at least through the first 3 games, has been pretty encouraging, to say the least. Let's see. Lawrence coming in says they need to stop playing not to lose and play to win. Keep the foot on the gas all game and not the half. Excuse me. I definitely agree with that. I think in the second half, that's what happened. They got conservative. They figured, well, we're up 2 scores. Let's play not to lose. Instead, they could have really blown this game open. They really should have won this game like 31 or 34-13. They really should have blew this game open, and they didn't. They took their foot off the gas. I wonder if Henry holds a bit of resentment towards Indy for taking him out half the season. If so, Indy could be in for a very long game. Oh, I'm pretty sure Henry is fired up for this game. Billy Rainey says, play Hooper. I agree. I think Henry's going to be very fired up for this game, and it won't take much to get him fired up. Let's see. Vrabel's going to have our guys ready. Remember last year he went for 2, getting us a 9-point lead. We're definitely going to see. Billy Rainey, I appreciate the love, man. But, this game is way more important than the Raiders game will ever be. If the Tennessee Titans win this game and get to 2-2, they are right back on track. They're right back on track. They're right back at square one, and they can march on and possibly have a pretty good season. But if you lose this game, division-wise, you could be in a lot of trouble. And that's why I think this game is way more important than the Raider game. But if you get to 2-2, you're back on track, and you have a good chance to really take advantage and surge forward. And I really think the Titans have a very good opportunity to do that if they take care of business in this game. And I'm not, not to look ahead or anything, because after Indy, you got a road game against Washington. You get a bye week, so you get 2 weeks to prepare for the Colts at home again, and then you have Houston. You have a chance to get on a roll here. You have a chance to possibly win 5 in a row. If you take care of Houston, you beat Indianapolis twice and Washington, but we'll get to those games as we get to them. You have a chance to really get your season back together. So that's what they're going to have to do. And so now, the moment of truth. Who do I have winning this game? Is it the Titans or is it the Colts? The Colts are always a tough out. No matter how you slice it, they are a tough out. And depending on who we get back this week, I think the Titans have a very good chance to take advantage of this situation. Now, the Colts are going to be coming in on a high because they beat the Chiefs. And you know they want to get revenge on the Titans for the last 3 times we've played them and they have lost to us. But the Tennessee Titans are going to have to make sure that they match the first half with the second half. Or shall I say match the second half with the first half. Play 4 complete quarters of football. And if they can do that, the Titans get this win. 24-20, and they get to 2-2. And they're right back on track, right back where they should be. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on that. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I think the uglier the game is, the better it is for the Titans. The Colts are going to want to try to get out to a big lead or try to get away from the Titans. But if the Titans can get a lead early and get a nice lead, put the Colts maybe 10 to 14 points down early, that's where the Titans can really take control of the game and really put Indy on their heels and make Matt Ryan make some mistakes as he has made in the past. Yes, we did start 2-4. Tannehill took us to the championship. Woods needs to carry the momentum for the last game. True. They got to get Burks involved. I can take out predictions too. Damon Beverly says 31-20 Titans. Landon says, I think we win, but this will be ugly like last year on the road. And it was ugly. But I think the Titans get it done 24-20 to get to 2-2. I think after this game against the Raiders, I think a lot of people are feeling just a little bit better about the Tennessee Titans going forward. We'll have to see if we can build on this. We definitely have to build on it. It depends on which Tannehill we get on Sunday. Right now, Ryan Tannehill has done pretty well. Minus the game against the Bills where everybody stunk. Mark Jones says, Titans win. Ryan Tannehill will have a great game. He will get Burks involved early, help the offense flow. Derek Henry will get us to the promised land. I definitely do hope so. I really don't have a shut your pie hole for this particular evening because I didn't see anything that was like worthy of that. But again, my prayers out to everybody that's dealing with Hurricane Ian in Florida. I hope everybody's going to be all right and make it through this. I know they're getting pounded with rain and could be some flooding and things going on. Definitely hope for that. You know what? I got one. I got to shut your pie hole. It's more of a dunce of the day NFL-wise. I like everybody to shut their pie hole talking all great about the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers seem to be a bit overrated, and they're kind of showing that. The Jaguars kicked their asses on Sunday, 38-10, and it was a collective beatdown. Now, I know people are saying the Chargers are dealing with injuries, but you still got Justin Herbert, who is supposed to be one of the great quarterbacks to come along. And the Chargers haven't exactly looked the part. And thank you to my little brother. Appreciate y'all. Hey, I hope y'all are safe. I need y'all to be safe, but the fact that you watching this gives me good feeling that everything is okay. Also, I give congratulations to the Bengals. I will be watching their game tomorrow night against the Dolphins. And let's see, Pat McAfee shut his pie hole. Aaron Rodgers told him to shut the hell up when he tried to dismiss the Titan. Well, you got to think. And I like Pat McAfee a little bit, especially for what he's done in WWE. But you got to think. He's a Colts homer. He loves the Colts. And, I mean, even though I don't really care for Aaron Rodgers like that, I do appreciate the fact that he did kind of stand up for us, although Aaron Rodgers should have demanded a trade to us instead of taking that money from Green Bay. But, hey, who's going to turn down $50 million? I sure the heck ain't. So, everybody, I think that's going to just about do it for this show. But definitely a such a pile about the Chargers being overrated. I mean, about the Chargers being so great, they're overrated. I did like that one from Mark Jones. Pat McAfee should shut his pie hole as well. Next week, we're going to have ladies' night. I'm trying to get a few ladies on who are cancer survivors to kind of tell their story a little bit. We'll talk a little bit of football. I'll make sure that my friend Kelly Christian, who is a good friend of mine, who is she is a Packers fan, but she's a good friend of mine. She's a breast cancer survivor, and I'm definitely going to be trying to get a few other cancer survivors on the show as well to kind of tell their story. So, fellas, pass the word to the ladies. Ladies' night next week. Everybody's welcome to come on in and everything. So, we're going to have a good time with that. Definitely going to try to make sure I get my picks in for week 4 and definitely do better on that end. And then, of course, this Sunday, watch party, live watch party, Titans Colts. I'll be at El Toro Loco this Sunday with the Titans Fan Club of Memphis. Really for the next 2 Sundays, I'm going to be there as we get ready to play the Colts. And then, of course, following against the Commanders as well. So, everybody, I appreciate y'all watching the show. Thanks to everybody who's shown support. Thanks to everybody for the super chats. You can still give on that. Make sure y'all follow on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. Also, make sure you follow on Instagram at Titans_in_truth. And, of course, on Facebook, TNT Enforcers. Make sure y'all follow all those pages as well. Again, make sure y'all like the show if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel as well. I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning into the show. Also, all of this will be out on all your podcast channels, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I'll have that out definitely before morning. So you can definitely go back and listen to it, download it. Give me a rating. Let me know what you think. But everybody, thank y'all for tuning in to the show. I appreciate everybody coming on in. And everybody have a very good rest of your day. And as always, we're going to tighten up because that's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.